Hey there, and welcome back. Believe it or not, we're about to come up on another major release of WordPress. That's right, WordPress 5.8 is scheduled to be released on July 20th, and it's going to be a pretty interesting update. WordPress 5.8 will start the process of moving full site editing into core. The block editor will also get a few additions and updates, and the WebP image format will now be supported by WordPress. Before we take a deeper dive into what you can expect with WordPress 5.8, if you want to see more videos on WordPress, web design, e-commerce, and other website related topics, be sure to hit the subscribe button and to ring the bell for notifications. Now, let's get started. As I mentioned before, the biggest feature of WordPress 5.8 is the start of moving full site editing into WordPress core. Now, full site editing, or FSE, won't be fully into core with 5.8. There are still some things that need work done before they are ready for the big time. But here are a few of those FSE related additions for this update. One of the first things that you'll notice when you go to add in a new post or page is a wide array of new blocks that you can add to your website. You can now add in page list, site title, site logo, site tagline, and query loop blocks to your website. These are all added in anticipation of the rest of full site editing coming to WordPress core later in 2021 or early 2022. So obviously you probably won't be using the site title, logo, or tagline blocks right away, but the page list and query loop blocks might have some use for your website right now. The page list block will list your website's pages without you having to do anything. Unfortunately, at the time of the script writing for this video, you can't delete a page from the list without deleting the block. But hopefully that has been or will be fixed down the road. The query loop block allows you to customize the look and feel of the post that you're trying to load, including having a featured image, post excerpt, and more. Probably the biggest change coming in WordPress 5.8 is the new template editor, which sort of brings full site editing into core. To use this feature, create or edit a post or page. Underneath the template section in the right-hand menu, you can select a template for the post or page, or you can hit edit to edit that template, or hit new to add in a new template. From there, you'll be taken to a new editor screen where you can build that template, from the header to the footer to the menus and almost everything in between. This is a pretty cool feature, but do be aware that using this will override whatever PHP template your theme is using for that content. So it might look a little weird with your theme. I would highly suggest trying this in some sort of sandbox website where you can try it out and break things without messing up your live site. It'll likely be the best way to learn how to use this new editor. And for theme developers and website admins out there that don't want this option to be available, you can add in remove themes support block templates to disable the template editor. Also, another thing you will notice is a new screen when you go in to edit your widgets. It's going to look a lot like the block editor. And in fact, you can now use blocks as widgets if you want. Now don't worry, you can still use your array of current widgets by using the legacy widget block. And even when you go in to edit your widget areas, every widget in there should still work. So you won't lose anything when you update to WordPress 5.8. It's just another option you have for customizing your website to your liking. Also coming along with WordPress 5.8 is a new block pattern directory similar to that of the plugin and theme directories you're probably already familiar with. If you don't know, block patterns are custom predetermined arrangements for blocks. For example, you might insert a block pattern that is 2 columns, with one column being an image and the other having a heading block and a paragraph block. It makes creating complex page layouts much easier. And now developers will be able to easily offer their own block patterns through this directory. And you'll be able to easily find and download the block patterns you want to use for your pages and posts. How this plays out in the real world remains to be seen, but I think it's going to be a big boost to the block editor. Finally, you can now add a big splash of color to your images and cover blocks with the Duotone feature in the block editor. With this feature, you can now add in Instagram-like filters to your images that will take a bit more work to make it look just right. To get this to work, you'll need to select the image and then select a color for highlights and a color for shadows. For example, WordPress recommends for a sepia light filter using brown for shadows and tan for highlights. And the good news is that this will use SVG to add in the filter, meaning that the original image won't be changed at all, just in case you make a mistake with your colors. Finally, There's one technical addition that some people might like. WordPress will now support the WebP image format. Before, you had to use a plugin as a workaround to upload images in that format, but native support for it should make it much easier. What is WebP? Well, it's an image format that has a higher compression than PNG or JPEG images, meaning that you can show images that are smaller file sizes and increase your page speed. If you run your website through Google PageSpeed Insights, and you totally should be doing that, you might have seen a message about displaying your images in a WebP or even JPEG-X format. This is what that's referencing. WordPress won't be converting your images to WebP just yet, but maybe that's something that will come in a later release. So, what do you think about WordPress 5.8? What is your favorite feature or change? Or is there something that you're concerned about? To test drive WordPress 5.8, you can use the WordPress Beta Tester plugin, which I've talked about before in a previous video as well as a blog post. Links to both of those are down in the description below. Just make sure you only test it on a staging or development website. Also, when WordPress 5.8 is released, make sure you have a way to properly update your website, including taking a backup of the site beforehand. I went over the proper way to update your website in a previous video as well. Next week, we're going to take a deeper dive into full site editing. We'll be talking about what it is and what it might look like once it's fully rolled into WordPress core. To see that video and more videos on WordPress, digital marketing, web design, and other website related topics, be sure to hit the subscribe button and to ring the bell for notifications. But until next time, happy WordPressing.